Sometimes you start playing a game and suddenly it's past midnight. These are the kinds of games that keep you hooked and playing way longer than you planned. Here are the 20 addictive games that keep you awake every night. Fatal Frame, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, is the kind of horror game that quietly pulls you in. Then suddenly, it's 2 a.m. This is a classic title that finally made its way to modern platforms, and it still hits just as hard. The game takes place on a creepy island tied to an old tragedy, where memories are missing and something clearly doesn't want to stay buried. Instead of fighting enemies head-on, you're forced to face ghosts up close using a camera. And that's what makes it so addictive. You have to wait, aim, and take the photo at the worst possible moment. Every encounter feels risky, and backing away isn't always an option. The story unfolds slowly as you explore abandoned buildings, dark hallways, and unsettling locations that make you want answers, even when you're scared to move forward. That constant mix of fear and curiosity keeps you saying, just one more area.
ルカがあの島に行ってしまいました。あの島の人たちはもう咲いてしまっているかもしれない。
咲いた。咲いてしまった。でも、ルカちゃんがどこにいるのか。
そうだ。私はこの祭りを見ていた。大切な何かを置いてきた。
You never know you are a monster until someone comes to slay you. The first signs are really subtle, but over time, it becomes clear. The gift changes you, slowly consuming every little part of your humanity.
Wuchang Fallen Feathers opens with a mysterious setup that immediately pulls you in. You play as Wuchang, a warrior who wakes up with no memory in a land slowly being destroyed by a strange curse. People are changing, monsters are spreading, and the world feels like it's on the edge of collapse. You don't get clear answers, but the game gives you just enough to make you want to keep going. Combat is tough and unforgiving, but also deeply rewarding. Every enemy forces you to learn, adapt, and improve. You die, you try again, and each attempt feels closer to success. That loop alone is enough to keep you playing way longer than planned. Wuchang Fallen Feathers is challenging, atmospheric, and hard to put down. It's exactly the kind of game that keeps you awake at night, chasing progress and answers one fight at a time.
V. My name is Songbird. I'm an NUS intelligence analyst. I know about the bomb ticking in your head. And I can save your life.
What's the catch?
I need you to get to Dogtown.
Attention all Dogtown residents.
Get Myers out of there.
Time to evac.
Her safety is the top priority.
Shit! They catch us out here, we're dead.
Wait, hear that?
God almighty! It's moving! Run! This way! Quick!
Cyberpunk 2077 opens by dropping you straight into Night City, a place where ambition is everything and survival is never guaranteed. You play as V, a merc trying to make a name in a city obsessed with power, tech, and reputation. What makes Cyberpunk so addictive is how easy it is to get lost in its world. One mission turns into another, side jobs feel just as important as the main story, and Night City always has something happening around the corner. Combat and builds add another layer to that addiction. You can go full guns blazing, sneak with hacks, or mix both styles. As your character gets stronger, you start experimenting more, which makes it hard to walk away once you're in the flow. Cyberpunk is the kind of game where you tell yourself you'll play for 30 minutes, then realize it's way past midnight. Dead Space Remake drops you into a situation that's already gone very wrong. You're Isaac Clarke, an engineer sent to check on a silent spaceship, and from the start, you can tell this is not a normal repair job. The ship feels empty, and whatever happened to the crew didn't end cleanly. Combat is all about strategy. You don't just shoot enemies, you disable them by severing limbs and using tools meant for engineering as weapons. That risk versus reward combat loop, combined with exploration and survival mechanics, makes it tough to put down. This remake stays true to the original 2008 survival horror classic, but adds modern touches that make it even more immersive. The environments are tightly connected with no load screens. The lighting and sound design pull you deeper into the tension, and enemies feel unpredictable.
Humanity will be made whole, Mr. Clarke. With or without you.
Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon takes place in a dark version of Avalon, where things have clearly gone wrong. The world is slowly being swallowed by a strange force. Old legends are coming back, and nothing feels safe anymore. You're dropped into this setting with very little guidance, but that mystery is exactly what pulls you in. What makes this game so addictive is how easy it is to get lost in it. You're constantly finding side quests, strange characters, and choices that actually matter. You'll finish one task, then immediately see another path or story thread that makes you want to keep going. Combat and progression add to that loop. You can experiment with different weapons, magic, and builds, and the freedom to play your way keeps things fresh. Exploring new areas, improving your character, and uncovering bits of lore slowly adds up.
Of the abyss. I swear, this day.
If we stick together, cult will never break us.
What God gives, no man can take away.
Far Cry 5 throws you into a situation that goes bad really fast. You're sent to a quiet rural area in Montana, only to find it taken over by a dangerous cult that fully controls the region. From the start, the game makes it clear this place is unstable, and getting out won't be simple. What makes Far Cry 5 so addictive is the freedom. The map is wide open, and you can tackle things however you want. You might start with a main mission, then get distracted by a side quest, a random ambush, or a call for help from an NPC. There's always something happening, and it constantly pulls you off your original plan. Combat is fast and fun, whether you're using guns, explosives, vehicles, or even animal companions. Progress feels steady, too. You're liberating areas, unlocking new gear, and slowly taking back control of the region, which makes it hard to stop once you get rolling. Tales of Arise starts with a clear setup that pulls you in fast. Two worlds are connected by a long history of pain, where one side lives in comfort and the other survives through suffering. You play as characters caught in the middle of that conflict, slowly realizing that fixing things won't be simple or clean. What makes it addictive is how smooth everything feels once you get going. Combat is fast, flashy, and easy to understand, but still deep enough to keep things interesting. You're chaining attacks, switching characters, and pulling off big team moves that make fights feel satisfying instead of repetitive. Tales of Arise is the kind of game where progress always feels close. Finish one quest, unlock a new ability, see the next story moment, and suddenly you don't want to stop. It's a perfect example of a game that quietly keeps you awake way longer than you planned.
Set the example, and those without it are forced to obey.
I found you at last.
And I see you came along as well, damn witch.
I thought I had been doomed to a life of solitude.
That doesn't mean I'm going to stop looking out for you. Not now, not ever.
That can't be.
Look out! Right now, this thing needs dealing with. The hell? Is that a sumo? Everyone, be careful! That thing is huge! Tectonic thinking!
You burn!
Danin Liberation and the Renaissance. Looks like we've got our work cut out for us.
Nioh 2 puts you right into a violent version of Sengoku-era Japan, where war and demons exist side by side. You play as a half-human fighter dealing with a cursed world that's already falling apart. The game gives you just enough story to understand the stakes, without slowing things down or explaining everything up front. What makes Nioh 2 so addictive is how deep the combat goes. Fights are fast, technical, and demanding. You're switching stances, managing stamina, and reacting constantly. Every enemy can punish mistakes, but when you start improving, the combat feels insanely good. Then there's the loot. New weapons, armor, and skills are always dropping, which pushes you to keep tweaking your build and trying new playstyles. Beat one mission, get better gear, and suddenly you're jumping into the next one without thinking twice. The Evil Within 2 brings Sebastian Castellanos back into a nightmare he never really escaped. This time, everything feels more personal. He's pulled into a broken world after learning his daughter might still be alive, and that alone gives the story a clear emotional hook without giving too much away. Combat feels tense because ammo is limited and enemies are unpredictable. Every upgrade matters, and every encounter can go wrong fast if you're careless. That pressure keeps you locked in, always thinking about your next move. The game gives you more room to breathe compared to the first one. Areas are larger and more open, letting you explore, scavenge, and plan your next move instead of constantly being pushed forward. That freedom makes every decision feel risky, especially when you're low on ammo or health.
Still on the loose in here.
And he's got Lily.
This chase has been entertaining. But even the greatest entertainments must come to an end.
Enough art school bullshit! Where is she?
We have the same goal, Sebastian. We can help each other. Join me.
Keep shooting until they're dead or we run out of ammo.
Once I have the power of the core, you will be truly free.
Are you all right?
Why wouldn't I be all right?
Stranding 2 on the beach brings you back into a world that's still struggling to stay connected. This time, the story hints at new places beyond what you've seen before, with Sam once again caught between rebuilding humanity and dealing with forces that don't want things to change. The gameplay loop is where the addiction kicks in. Moving through harsh environments, planning routes, managing cargo, and dealing with unexpected threats makes even simple deliveries feel intense. Every successful trip feels earned, and that sense of progress keeps pushing you to take on just one more task. Death Stranding 2 isn't fast or flashy, but it has that slow, gripping pull. It's the kind of game where you sit down for a short session and end up staying awake way longer than planned, just trying to finish one more delivery. Sifu is a game that gets straight to the point. You play as a fighter, going after the people who killed your family. The setup is simple, and the game doesn't waste time explaining things. It just throws you into fights and expects you to learn fast. Combat is the main focus here. Every fight is close, fast, and punishing. You're dodging, blocking, and reacting in real time, and button mashing will get you destroyed. When you mess up, your character ages, which makes each run feel different and adds pressure to every mistake. What really keeps people playing is how replayable it is. You finish a level, then immediately want to try again to do it cleaner. Fewer hits, better timing, better flow. That constant urge to improve makes it really hard to stop once you're locked in. Sifu is one of those games where you sit down for a quick session and end up playing way longer than planned. Sleeping Dogs puts you in the middle of Hong Kong's criminal underworld, but from a different angle. You play as Wei Shen, an undercover cop trying to blend in with the triads while slowly getting pulled deeper into their world. What keeps Sleeping Dogs so addictive is how smoothly everything flows. You're driving through the city, getting into street fights, doing side jobs, and jumping straight into story missions without any real downtime. The hand-to-hand combat feels fast and brutal, especially compared to other open-world games that rely mostly on guns. The city itself does a lot of the work. Hong Kong feels alive, with markets, traffic, side activities, and random events always popping up. You'll start a mission, then get distracted by a race, a fight club, or a side story, and suddenly you've been playing for hours.
Our brotherhood pays our enemies with pain, suffering, and death. None suffers more than a traitor. We're cops.
You're a cop. I'm an undercover cop. The rules are different.
You've crossed the line, Wei.
A Plague Tale Requiem follows Amicia and Hugo as they keep trying to survive in a world that just won't let them rest. They're still running from the plague and the trouble connected to it, but it doesn't take long to see that things are getting worse instead of better. Everything feels larger this time. The areas are more open, enemies hit harder, and mistakes cost you fast. You're always sneaking, crafting tools, and thinking about your next move because getting caught can end a section instantly. That constant pressure keeps you locked in and paying attention. The bond between Amicia and Hugo is a big reason the game works so well. Their conversations feel natural, and you actually care about what happens to them. It's not just about getting through the next area, but about seeing how far they can make it together.
Being afraid, I'll show them that it's over!
Finally!
See? They're nothing! Nothing to be scared of! No! You are not them. What is wrong with me? Hugo!
Amicia!
Come on. Do it! Quick!
Ghost of Yotei takes you back to feudal Japan, but with a new story and a new main character. You play as Atsu, someone driven by revenge after her family is wiped out by a group of powerful outlaws. The setup is simple and personal. It gives you just enough to make you want to keep going. If you liked Ghost of Tsushima, this feels like a natural next step. The world looks bigger and more dangerous. You're free to explore, take on targets in different ways, and get distracted by side activities without feeling rushed. One mission easily turns into 3 because there's always something nearby pulling your attention. Combat looks familiar but more refined. Sword fights are fast and satisfying, and progression feels steady as you unlock new gear and abilities. You're constantly getting stronger, which makes it tempting to keep playing just to see how much better you can get. Shinobi Art of Vengeance brings back a classic ninja series with a darker and more aggressive tone. The game centers around revenge, with the main character stepping back into the shadows after everything he cares about is taken from him. The setup is straightforward, but it fits perfectly with the fast and deadly style the series is known for. Gameplay focuses on speed, precision, and movement. You're slicing through enemies, dodging attacks, and chaining abilities together without slowing down. Levels are designed to keep you moving, and once you get into the flow, it's hard to stop. Shinobi Art of Vengeance feels like the kind of game that turns short sessions into long ones. If you enjoy fast action, tight controls, and that just one more try mindset, this one can easily keep you up way later than planned. Dispatch has a pretty funny but interesting setup. The story follows a former superhero whose mech suit is completely wrecked, forcing him off the battlefield and into a desk job running superhero dispatch. Instead of saving the city directly, he's sending other heroes out on missions while trying to fix his own mess. Most of the game is built around choices. Calls come in, situations get messy, and decisions affect relationships, missions, and how the story unfolds. It's easy to finish one scene and immediately want to see what happens next. The writing and characters are a big reason it works. Conversations feel natural, sometimes awkward, sometimes funny, and they actually make you care about the outcomes. That makes replaying episodes tempting, just to see how things change. Dispatch isn't about action-heavy gameplay, but it's still very addictive.
It's time for you to accept that you don't got it anymore. We need you behind that desk to help actual heroes. Now, get your flat ass off my bench.
Looks like the Red Ring was behind this.
No problemo.
Can I get ice down here?
Got it. I need you guys to focus.
Busy, look out!
You want to get people hurt? Get people killed?
A real hero puts their ass on the line.
Come on!
Just be careful, kid. The answers are out there if you just listen to the wind.
Disco Elysium throws you into one of the weirdest RPG setups out there. You wake up in a rundown part of the city with no memory at all, a massive headache, and a murder case that still needs to be solved. From the start, it's clear this isn't a normal detective story, and that mystery alone makes it hard to walk away. Instead of traditional combat, everything here is about dialogue and decisions. Conversations can spiral in unexpected directions, your own thoughts argue with you, and even small choices can lead to big consequences. You're constantly curious about what option to pick next and how the game will react. The city feels alive in a messy, realistic way. There are strange characters everywhere, side stories that go deeper than expected, and tons of details that reward paying attention. Disco Elysium is the kind of game that doesn't rush you, but still keeps you hooked.
A fallible psyche. using the tissues of another world. Should a true RPG have dice rolls? How about a megaton of dialogue? Maybe.
Clair Obscur, Expedition 33 doesn't waste time getting your attention. The world is built around a strange rule where people simply disappear once they reach a certain age, and every year, a new group is sent out to stop it. Expedition 33 is the next attempt, and from the beginning, the game makes it clear that failure has real consequences. Combat blends turn-based strategy with real-time elements, so battles stay engaging instead of slow. Timing matters, reactions matter, and as you unlock new abilities, fights start to feel more dynamic and satisfying. Outside of combat, the game keeps pulling you forward with its atmosphere and mystery. You'll clear one area and immediately want to see what comes next, or learn more about what's really behind everything. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33 is the kind of RPG that quietly hooks you. You keep playing because you want answers, progress, and just one more fight before calling it a night.
We need to go, now! Who are you?
Even if we fail, we lay the trail for those who will come after. Right? We are Expedition 33.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 continues Henry's story in a medieval. You're just a guy trying to survive in the middle of political chaos, wars, and bad decisions that have real consequences. Combat stays grounded and demanding. Sword fights aren't flashy, and rushing in usually ends badly. You have to think, manage stamina, and actually learn how to fight properly. It can be frustrating at first, but once it clicks, it's really satisfying. The world is where the game really pulls you in. Towns feel busy, NPCs have routines, and side quests often turn into full stories of their own. You'll head out to handle one small task and suddenly get caught up in something much bigger. That slow, realistic pacing is what makes Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 so addictive. It doesn't rush you, but it keeps you curious enough to stay up later than planned, just to see where Henry's story goes next.
To avenge the ones I lost.
Quite no doubt you've got a cunning plan for us to get out of here, right?
You chose a different path than I wanted for you. And maybe that's how it was meant to be. But once you've chosen the path of adventure, you have to fight.
There they are!
Well, now we're really fucked.
You have to fight till the bitter end.
The most adventure I was expecting was a fuck or two.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of those games that slowly pulls you in without you realizing it. You jump in just to play for a bit, and before long, you're fully invested in a world that feels real and unpredictable. What keeps you hooked is how alive everything feels. You head out for a mission, then get distracted by random encounters, side activities, or just something happening nearby. The game never forces you to rush, but there's always something interesting pulling your attention. The slower pace actually works in its favor. Gunfights feel heavy, exploration feels rewarding, and progress comes naturally the more time you spend playing. Even simple things like riding your horse or setting up camp feel meaningful. Red Dead Redemption 2 is addictive because it lets you exist in its world. You keep playing not out of habit, but because you want to stay there a little longer and see what happens next.
Nothing means more to me than this game. I would kill for it, I would happily die for it. I wish things were different. But it weren't us who changed.
Just one more.
There's always a goddamn tree.
I don't want to kill all these folk Dutch. Just you.
What about loyalty? Loyal to what matters.
Do as you're goddamn told.
It is us or him!